I'm running out of intros. Hi, how are you? Good? That's good. There's currently a child screaming across from my house, so that's pretty fun. Just a quick heads up, no video next week because I'll be on vacation. Sound good? Cool. Since my last few videos have been pretty heavy, I decided I might as well jump onto the historical side of things. So, today, as you already know, we're talking about China. More specifically, we're talking about what the world would look like if China were just gone, as in it never existed in the first place. Now, it's no secret that China is a global superpower today, and that the country has a very extensive history. If it never existed, the world would be a very different place. But, of course, we need to define which China we're talking about. Was the People's Republic of China never founded in 1949? Or did the various emperors who ruled throughout the land's 4,000-year history never rule in the first place? To discuss both of these, I'll break China's history into ancient China and modern China. Now, I just mentioned that China has a very long history, so it's going to be tough to crunch down into a 4-minute video, but I'll do my best. First, let's focus on its beginnings. Not much is known about the emperors who preceded Qin Shi Huang, so we'll start with him. Emperor Qin was the first emperor to rule over a fully unified China. After the region's warring states period, Emperor Qin ruled for 11 years until his death in 210 BC. Had he, and the emperors who came before and after him, never ruled, it's very possible that some of China's greatest contributions to early civilizations would have never been made. Ancient China is often credited for the 4 great inventions of paper, gunpowder, printing, and the compass. Had ancient China never existed, these inventions would not have been discovered by the Chinese, and therefore would not have made it to the rest of the world when they did. Could someone else have discovered them? Sure, but that's a boring conclusion. Ancient China, though far off in the minds of those living in Europe at the time, had a huge impact on Western development. Then comes the question of who would take their place. If we're at around 200 BC in history, and no civilization currently inhabits what is modern-day China, who would expand there? Well, there really aren't a ton of candidates. The first Persian Empire reached its peak around 500 BC and was huge, but were finished off by Alexander the Great and his armies before 200 BC. Meanwhile, Alexander the Great died in 323 BC, so he wouldn't be a good fit either. Maybe an empire would rise from the Indian subcontinent and expand there? To be honest, there was kind of a gap in East Asian empires around this time, so there really isn't a good answer as to who would fill this gap. Let's now move our focus to modern-day China. Here's a brief historical overview of what happened prior to 1949, when the current Chinese government was founded. The period from 1912 to 1949 can be mainly broken down in the constant fighting between two parties, nationalists and communists. China's last emperor was forced to abdicate, or give up his seat, in 1912, which marked the end of Imperial China. In 1921, the Communist Party of China was formed in part due to protesting the Chinese government's response to the 1919 Treaty of Versailles. In 1927, the Shanghai Massacre occurred after nationalist party leaders ordered the killings of communists. Thousands were killed and the Communist Red Army was formed soon after, marking the unofficial start to China's Civil War. In 1931, conflicts between nationalists and communists officially escalated into a civil war. Finally, in 1949, the Civil War ended and the Communist Party officially declared the People's Republic of China. Nationalist leaders and millions of soldiers escaped to Taiwan. Mao Zedong, the chairman of the CCP, became China's new leader. Okay, that was a lot. So let's erase it all from history. What happens now? Obviously, China wouldn't be a global superpower today because the modern-day country wouldn't exist. In a world without China, the USA and Russia would be the main 2 superpowers, and we could expect to see another one rise from East Asia. Maybe India would take China's place, or Japan. If all of mainland China was simply open land, one of those 2 countries could possibly expand to make even more of a name for themselves on the world stage. There are also a number of historical events that China played a role in, such as the Korean War. Had China not partaken in back North Korea, it's possible we'd see a unified Korean peninsula today. Of course, the USSR did also participate, so maybe not. Then, of course, we need to talk about communism. Had China never existed, it's possible that the last major country to adopt and use communism would have been the USSR. For the record, China isn't necessarily a communist state today, but the country was still founded on ideas of communism, which is why I'm talking about it. While communism wouldn't have died with the fall of the USSR in 1991, it's interesting to think about where the ideology would be today if China never existed. Bottom line is, whether you like it or not, China's extensive history has greatly shaped the world today. And without it, the world would be very different. I'd also like to add that there were vast majorities of China's history that I skipped over. I pretty much only talked about Imperial China and their civil war, but there was a lot more China went through to get to where they are today. I'd highly recommend checking out some of the links in the description for more info. Okay, that's all I've got for this hypothetical. If you found this interesting and enjoyed, please feel free to like and subscribe. I upload new videos weekly, except for next week when I'm on vacation. Feel free to follow me on Twitter too. I'll link it down below. Additionally, please feel free to recommend some of your own hypotheticals in the comments. As I said, all of my research links will be in the description. I'll see you in 2 weeks for another video. Thanks for watching.